So the next gen consoles are out, and they didn't turn out to be anywhere near as impressive or as powerful as Sony and Microsoft promised. Are you surprised? Because I'm not. I mean, come on. How many years have we gone through this? How many times have console manufacturers promised revolutionary tech that'll leave PCs in the dust? That you'll be able to get the performance of a $1,000 PC out of a $500 or $400 box. It's never true. There's always half promises, and then everybody ends up being disappointed, but then later on they defend all the lies. And the one person guilty of this more than anyone else is our good old friend Colteastwood, who I've been watching for 3 years now. 3 fucking years this guy has been damage controlling for his fan base. He'll make a video, 1 minute say, the Xbox One X will be able to do 4K gaming 60 FPS. And then when less than half the games aren't even true 4K or even 60 FPS, there he is to damage control for good old Microsoft. I mean, come on, when we look at Colteastwood, we all know exactly what he's about. He's not actually about tech. He's not actually about video games. What he wants is to catch Microsoft's attention, and hopefully they'll give him a job one day. So for those of you who sit there and watch Colteastwood and think that there's integrity here and truth, in reality what you're just getting is about a 12-minute long Microsoft ad. So what happened exactly? Well, what happened is that there's maybe a few games out there where the PlayStation 5 has a higher frame rate and the visual quality isn't that different, and people are sitting there scratching their heads wondering, where's this 12 teraflop advantage? Because it's not even showing with the current gen games. And on top of that, Sony already has, well, exclusives that look way better as of this moment. So those people expecting to see 12 teraflops put to use are quite disappointed right now. And along comes Colteastwood to basically say that what's happening is the Xbox is getting the PS5 ports, and that's why they're not as impressive as they should be. I know, you're sitting there wondering, what? Logic, I need it, please. And don't worry, we're gonna go over his video. But if you think I'm gonna play the entire thing for you and pause every second to respond to it, sadly you're wrong. I'm not gonna do that format for this one because Colteastwood videos are not fun to go over. Instead, I'm gonna cut up the segments that actually matter. So if you have a bong by your side or a nice joint or a can of beer or, you know, harder shit, I suggest you partake of it now. Go ahead, pause, take your time, get inebriated, high, I don't know, I don't care. It's a bad one.
The Xbox Series X has been on the market for a week, and new multi-platform games are being analyzed, and the power delta between the Xbox and the PS5 have shown shocking results. The Xbox is at least 20% more powerful, an incalculable suite of architectural benefits, all in a towering console that hasn't even been unlocked fully for developers. The PS5 has been keeping pace in many aspects in games like Call of Duty Cold War and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, all with less power, fewer feature sets, but former PlayStation developers see the true power behind the Xbox Series X, and it's waiting for them right now.
And you don't see the problem with any of that, Colt? You don't see the problem with Microsoft's promises of this console, and then none of those promises being there at launch? Isn't that misleading? Because we've reached the point, Colt, where it's always been, just you wait, all the time. Just you wait, trust me. When the next Xbox One X update comes, you will see an actual native 4K. The power of the cloud is going to render a lot of this bullshit. Just you wait. Wait. Meanwhile, Sony actually has the games that look next gen and is actually utilizing the hardware to showcase that. And here's Microsoft twiddling their thumbs with their top game being delayed and looking like an OG Xbox title. Not even a 360 title, an OG Xbox title. Okay, I'm exaggerating there, but you get my point. You're always having to sway your audience into staying longer, but the inevitable is going to happen. They're gonna jump board because they're going to get tired of you telling them, just you wait. No, they don't want to wait. They want those next gen looking games now. They at the very least want some type of exclusive software that will utilize the console and display what it can actually do, but they don't even get that. So please, Colt, without further ado, I would love to see how you try to weasel your way out of this one this time.
Today we're going to look at what the Xbox Series X can really do and developers don't give us, the PlayStation version of an Xbox game.
Bullshit, we're not going to see anything, okay? You don't have exclusive gameplay from Microsoft given to you displaying what the Xbox Series X can actually do.
Around 2019 in June, rumors and reports from developers working with dev kits for the PS5 and Xbox Scarlett stated that the PS5 was more powerful, more capable, and more advanced than the new Xbox, which at that time was boasting to be the world's most powerful console.
Okay, stop. Hold on. Stop, Colt. Stop. What the fuck did he put up there? Rumors of 10 to 50% more powerful than the Xbox Series X? What journalist site was ever saying that the PlayStation 5 was 10 to 50% more powerful? I had to take a Google search to see if Colt's narrative was even true, or if he was just trying to make up bullshit. All I could find was an article writing about a tweet, mind you, a tweet with no more than 12 likes, that says, source within industry that has access to both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet dev kit/specs confirms that the next-gen systems almost mimic in architecture, but the max performance of the PlayStation 5 outperforms Scarlet by 10 to 15% and has a faster SSD. Ray tracing capability better with Scarlet. Look at that. Even the original rumor said 10 to 15%. Colt puts up 10 to 50%. Why? To make it look like the Xbox was the underdog in the fight, being slandered on by articles and journalists and the media and their awful bias. But in reality, this rumor was never taken serious.
It eats monsters for breakfast.
Oh yeah, totally. I totally believe the Xbox Series X can eat a 3080.
At that time, developers on the PS5 dev kit were using a much more mature toolset that was rumored to be ready for 2019 launch window, but pushed into 2020 alongside the Xbox Series X and S.
See, already, here we go. You can see where he's going with it already, can't you? He's trying to create an excuse. Oh, clearly, the PlayStation dev kits were more advanced and they have the advantage. But what was it? For months, Colt was bragging about how Microsoft had the advantage because they were handing out dev kits. And when Digital Foundry got their hands on one, Colt couldn't help but jerk himself off and brag about how Microsoft had the advantage in the dev kits. Now here we are, and the narrative has changed. This guy will never take an L. Never.
In 2019, around E3 season, developers readying games for Xbox were using a desktop PC spec target instead of a full SDK or a dev kit from Xbox.
Shit, then the games should have looked better.
Codemasters Dirt 5 lead developer stated that their teams did not get access to an Xbox dev kit to properly port the Xbox version of their game until late into development of Dirt 5. Essentially, many developers that make games for all platforms spent much of the past year with PC and Xbox One level hardware and software tools to optimize games for the new Xbox Series X.
Many developers. Oh yeah, sure, Colt. You literally just named us one, okay? But here, let's just take a scroll through your channel real quick to see what you said before. Devs confirmed. Xbox Series X faster than PlayStation 5, velocity architecture and Kraken on next generation. Xbox Series X dev speaks up on the full power. Look at that, Colt. Hell, you even claimed it was faster than the PS5. No. You didn't claim, you confirmed it. God, you got no integrity. It's just so hard to watch your shit, cause I keep track of everything you say.
By summer of 2020, 1 year later, just months before the launch of the Xbox Series and PS5 consoles, devs had full access to software tools for the PS5 for nearly a year, and Xbox was just getting GameCore or the GDK, the game development kit, in hand to optimize the latest games.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Okay, let's just stop for a second, okay? Let's just pretend that's true, okay? Let's just pretend the whole excuse is true that the dev kits were late. That doesn't really matter, does it? Because Microsoft promised this out of their console, and at launch, you don't have those things. That's going to affect people's perception of your console.
For big games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this meant that the Xbox Series X was getting a mix of the PS5 version and the Xbox One X version. What does this mean? The Xbox Series X version runs at nearly the same quality as the PS5, except the Xbox version has occasional screen tearing as the frame rate of 60 FPS is running above or below the target, unable to keep up with the refresh on your screen. The Xbox Series X is much more capable and should not have this issue when the PS5 does not. The reasoning is led back to the software tools of the GDK, which Ubisoft has not had enough time to implement fully. A patch will easily solve this with VSync,
It's just like when the Xbox One X was out and there's PS4 Pro games that looked and ran better than the Xbox One X, and Colt had to come out with the same bullshit. Clearly they're building from the PS4 user base because that's where all the people are, so the full capabilities of the One X aren't being used. But when that patch comes out, just you wait. And then what, 2 years later, next gen consoles are here, and Colt's never ever going to bring up that the One X failed to do basically everything Microsoft promised. Are we gonna have a repeat of that? Most likely.
Dirt 5 had an extreme amount of screen tearing on the Xbox Series X in my preview build of the game and has been patched before launch by Codemasters. Developers are spending more time optimizing for the PS5 version with better, more mature tools, and that will not last, as nearly all devs prefer to use the available power to make their games look the best on the best hardware, regardless of the popularity of the platform, which we have seen with almost every single game since the Xbox One X was compared to the PS4 Pro.
Dog, to this day, there are still PS4 Pro ports that look and run better than the Xbox One X versions. The Xbox One X never provided all those advantages that were promised. And the same fucking thing is going to happen to you with the Series X. It's happening right now. You're gonna have to wait till next year. But let's see what happens by then, Colt. Let's see what you say then.
There is much more substantial advantage in the consoles besides just a more mature PS5 dev kit and the associated software tools. Quantic Dreams developer David Cage.
Really? I'm supposed to believe the guy that makes movies and pretends they're video games? Fine, whatever, go ahead.
Quantic Dreams developer David Cage has spent the better part of a decade developing exclusives for the PlayStation platform, and he has recently spoken about the transformative advantage of the feature sets in the Xbox Series X that are not even being tapped right now in cross-generation and multi-platform games.
Believe me. 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 Hey. Believe me.
David Cage said, "The CPU of the two consoles uses the same processor, slightly faster on the Xbox Series X. The GPU of the Xbox also seems more powerful, as it is 16% faster than the PS5 GPU, with a bandwidth that is 25% faster. The transfer speed from the SSD is twice as fast on the PS5. The shader cores of the Xbox are also more suitable to machine learning, which could be an advantage if Microsoft succeeds in implementing an equivalent to NVIDIA's DLSS, an advanced neural network solution for AI. Overall, I think that the pure analysis of the hardware shows an advantage for Microsoft, but experience tells us that hardware is only part of the equation." End quote.
What the that literally says nothing. That says nothing to us. What he said, we have known for a while now.
David Cage of Quantic Dreams said that the Xbox Series X's shader cores are more suitable for machine learning tasks, which could allow the console to perform DLSS-like performance-enhancing image reconstruction technique.
Get an Xbox Series X and wait for the possibility of DLSS to maybe exist on it, or some form of it at least, later on in its life, or stick to my gaming PC that has DLSS right now. It's getting pretty pathetic at this point. Like, Colt is literally having to pull shit out of his ass to convince you to stay just to witness what the Xbox Series X will do one day. It's like the religious people who used to tell me, hey, just stay, I promise you, when you die, you're gonna have that mansion in heaven. And then you discover DMT and then you find out you can have heaven, like right now.
DLSS is sharper than native 4K and created detail from AI.
I'm a PC gamer, I don't need an explanation to DLSS, so we can just skip that part.
Most and nearly all of the games on the Xbox Series X, even first-party games like the optimized for Series X and S, Gears 5, are not even using the full feature set, like Velocity Architecture to showcase the potential of the new hardware and software.
You're not exactly selling people on the Xbox Series X when you tell them these features aren't available right now. It literally feels like Microsoft slapped this console together this year and decided they were going to implement all the things it needed later on over time, which is not exactly the best way to approach your consumers.
There are four main advantages that Xbox holds over any console, even without looking at raw compute and hardware power delta over the PS5.
Well, clearly it's not going to be a large set of really nice, high-quality exclusives. We know that. It's clearly not going to be the power, because we pretty much have to disregard that at this point. And it's not going to be any SSD speed. I mean, tell us, Colt, what does the Xbox Series X have that's worth staying for?
Velocity architecture is one, mesh shaders, direct ML, and variable rate shading.
No one can have that much power. It is too much.
You're right, Colt. You're right. You're right. Xbox has Buzzwords. They have that above everything else. You're correct. Unlike Nvidia, who can back up what they have, you know, DLSS, ray tracing, Microsoft's Buzzwords carry a lot more value.
All 4 of these features are meant to take advantage of the hardware and push them even further to increase visual quality while keeping the console efficient to use that power to elevate the experience in every single way.
Whoa.
Translated to a statement
This is
we can all
worthless.
Tell me, Colt, why don't they have it now? Why would you put out a piece of hardware that's supposed to be powered by all of these features? You're essentially sending out a box, telling people it's the most powerful box on the fucking planet, but everything that's supposed to make it powerful isn't there. But just you wait, you'll get to witness it eventually. Or you could be like those PlayStation losers and actually get to witness games that use the hardware like Demon's Souls. Fucking plebs. Just they wait.
Translated to a statement that we can all understand, the Xbox's shader cores use advanced.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
Sorry, I tried going as long as I could without a bong rip. I really did, but come on, guys. This next part has nothing special, okay? He just explains machine learning and does what he was doing throughout the entire video, telling you just wait, this is an advantage the Xbox has and you haven't seen it yet, but when you see it, you're gonna be blown away. Only a matter of time. Jesus Christ, this whole video's pathetic.
PlayStation has always had the best software for developers, and some of the best in-house first-party developers can make some of the best-looking games on less powerful hardware. The Coalition and Playground Games for Xbox are showing what next generation can look like with Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4 already optimized for Xbox Series X.
And you know, Colt, people aren't that impressed. They really aren't. They just want to see the new games, because that's what console gamers want. If they wanted to hear about tech and all that shit, they would be on the PC where I don't want them, because that's my platform, bitch. I don't share. I remember when Xbox guys used to talk about Halo, used to talk about Gears, Fable. Now they're talking about machine learning, ray tracing. When the discussion has narrowed down to these things that function in a console and not actually the media being provided by the console, I think you got a problem. Either way, I'm not going to continue from here on out because it's just continuing to make excuses and then blaming developers for porting the PlayStation version over to the Xbox. You know, you'd figure a huge, rich as fuck company like Microsoft would have had this shit cracked down. I at least want to get Colt's closing statement. At the very least, let's see what he has to say.
For now, I'll take what I was wrong about for the games playing and looking better on PS5. This has shocked and surprised the majority, as few devs and fans expected PlayStation software tools to be this far ahead for launch over Xbox. I wasn't expecting this even last week, but we have some amazing games and outstanding looking visuals ahead on console. If you enjoyed this video and got some insight, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Patreons and channel members.
No, fuck off, Colt. I'm not gonna like your video. Dislike. I hope other people do too. It's just excuse after excuse at this point. It's been like that for the past, 3 years that I've been watching this channel. Every single time I click on here, after each controversy involving Microsoft, it's always an excuse and it's always wait. Now, Colt, I don't know. I don't think people are gonna want to wait anymore. PlayStation was on top of their shit. Microsoft wasn't. There really is no excuse making that should be happening here. Have some goddamn dignity. I mean, yeah, sure, Crap Gamer turned to PlayStation because his channel was dying, but at least he had the balls to turn around and call out Microsoft once in his life. When are you gonna do it? Anyways, for those of you that did get a PS5 or Xbox Series X, I hope you're enjoying it. Let me know in the comment section how it's been with them so far. And I guess I'll see you guys soonish? I don't know. Later.
Everything I do is just too sweet.